Hello, Jen here with a fun Halloween project to share with you. I absolutely love doing Halloween crafts, fall crafts, Christmas crafts, and I show a lot of these on my TikTok channel and not as many of them on my YouTube channel. And I've had a few people asking if I would go ahead and share them here as well. So that is what I'm going to do. I will try to do something like this maybe for every season, but I can't promise as much in the spring and the summer. For whatever reason, I just don't tend to do the seasonal crafts kind of at the beginning of the year, but the fall and winter stuff is really what appeals to me. And the last few years, I have been trying to do whatever the fun kind of ghost trend of the year is. Definitely hop over to my TikTok channel if you want to see what I've done in previous years to kind of follow some of those ghost trends. But yeah, I will start sharing them more on my YouTube channel too. And I have been thinking a little bit about my second channel. I do have a second channel. I have sort of not fully got it up and running. I've talked about it a couple of times and asked if people wanted to go and subscribe over there, but I'm not as consistent. But I'm thinking it might be time to kind of start that and maybe put some of my crafty stuff, more of my crafty stuff over there. So let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. If you want to see more of this, a lot of the crafts I do also incorporate my paper products. So as you can see here, so it is a bit of a good combination, kind of a hybrid DIY scrapbooking, paper crafting. Or would you like to see me maybe spend a little bit more time putting my crafts into that other channel and maybe trying to devote some time to getting these done as well? Let me know what you think. In either case, I just love doing it, so I'm going to share it with you guys. And yeah, I really appreciate that you click and watch and share and comment and all of those things. It definitely helps me out and helps out my channel so I can keep doing this kind of stuff. So let me tell you what the kind of trend is right now. It's sort of two. I'm combining two. There is the trend of having spackling and kind of making these ghosts and I've seen them at Michael's and stuff like that, like in person here in Canada at Michael's on a larger piece where it's just these spackled ghosts. But I know that other places in the States especially have sort of been following this trend too. And so you can get smaller pieces that have that same appearance to them. And so I wanted to do that in my own way with my own paper crafting supplies. And then the other trend that I keep seeing is the ghosts in frames. And so I wanted to kind of do that one too. So I'm combining them together. So the top piece that you just saw me do there, that is, instead of spackling, I'm using some gesso because that's what I have and I was working with paper, so I thought that might be a little bit better. I would actually like to go back, grab a piece of like a sign or something that I bought at Dollar Tree that I'm not using as a sign, maybe flip it over and distress the back of it and get some spackling and go ahead and do this as a larger piece exactly the way that the trend is. So stay tuned for that. But I thought for this, I might like to try it with some of my paper supplies. So I'm just using the gesso. I wanted something opaque, but maybe something that would dry a little bit faster than like a texture paste. But I definitely think if you guys wanted to do this with texture paste, you absolutely could. The other thing that I will say is all of these are going to be in frames that I got at Dollar Tree, wooden frames. I just found wooden pieces, like those teeny tiny little frames, in the craft section. And then this circular piece isn't necessarily a frame. It's kind of whatever you want it to be, but I thought it would make a good frame, so I grabbed that too. I did show you at the very, very beginning, I found some half circle frames. I don't know what you would call them. They're just those curved frames. I think those would also work really well. Or what I genuinely think would work the best, if you can do that, is go to your thrift store, your local thrift store, all through the year if you want to kind of do like garage sale hopping and stuff like that, and look for some really cool vintage frames that you could use. And you can definitely get them, clean them up, distress them, add some paint, some, rub and buff, whatever it might take. Here I'm literally just using some acrylic paint, and you could get some really cool authentic vintage frames and then do this with those frames. I did not find anything that I thought would work really well in my local thrift stores. Honestly, I don't know. I watch some of the thrifting, like Thrift With Me videos and the DIY videos from some of my favorite ladies that I kind of follow, and I'm just amazed at the stuff that they find in their thrift stores. And I just think it's because we just don't generally have the population here that we just don't have the like immense amount of stuff, so we don't get as much variety. I find some fantastic stuff in my local thrift stores, but I just never have come across any of these kind of cool frames. So if you see them, kind of collect them throughout the year, because they look super cool at Halloween and at Christmas. So you can kind of do double duty with them, especially if you want to go with sort of a black and gold kind of distressing. That works for both Christmas and for Halloween. So your frames can do double duty. So if you find them, just grab them, tuck them away, and know that, at the end of the year, you can put them to good use. But here you can see I just found this piece at Dollar Tree and some of those smaller frames at Dollar Tree. And so I just painted them black, and then now I'm going in with a little bit of silver and a little bit of gold. I didn't really have a copper kind of color to warm up that gold, but I find sometimes layering the silver with the gold gives it a bit more of a distressed antique-y look. So I just kind of play with it until it looks right to me. And when it's paint like this, honestly, you can keep layering, and if you need to go back in and add more black, or if you need to add a little white to highlight, it's really easy, and you just kind of keep playing with it until you get a look that you like. You can water down your paints if you want more of sort of a stained look. You could grab some chalk paint if you really want something more opaque. You can, paint and then sand areas down to give it a weathered look, or grab some rub and buff, which is sort of like a more intense metallic paint. You can get it in various shades and tones of silvers from, golds. I meant you can probably get silvers too, but you can get like warm golds that are almost more copper, all the way to like really tinny, cool golds. So whatever works for you to kind of paint these up, and just go for it. And honestly, you can correct your mistakes if you need to. If you find frames too that you like the shape of them, but you don't really like the colors, just pop in there, sand stuff down, add a little gesso or some white as a base if you think you need to do that, and then just layer until you get what you think looks right. So I essentially used my frames to cut out the right backing, and this is just black cardstock. And so what I did, I wanted to experiment, and I wanted to show you a couple different things you could do. So the top two that you see there is like a paper mache. I saw this actually on YouTube, and I wish I could remember who the creator was. I am so sorry. I would like to give credit to that creator. I can't remember. It was like a short that I saw, but she used toilet paper instead of newspaper and made kind of these puffy, pillowy ghosts on a canvas. And I thought that would also work really good on paper. So I went ahead and did that. And if you see right beside me to the right hand side, I also did some snowmen. So that'll be coming up as a little Christmas kind of craft, very similar to the ghost ones, because I like to double up when I can. When something is really fun and kind of works, I like to see if I can stretch it to other occasions or holidays or seasons too. So those are some little snowmen over off to the side, but I did those, and then I had some white felt, so I went ahead and did one in white felt, and you kind of saw how I glued around the edges so that it's 3D, because that's definitely something that you see these framed ghosts that are out. They're all 3D. Some of them are plastic or plaster or whatever. So I wanted to have some dimension. So I did that one in felt. And then the middle one is with cheesecloth. So just again, trying to show you some of the different materials that I had around the house, that I have in my craft room, that I was able to pull out to kind of achieve a similar look. Just using what I have available to me. And so the cheesecloth, I just layered it up and kind of did a couple layers. You could put a little bit of stuffing in there if you had an old pillow that you wanted to pull some stuffing out. You could actually use the stuffing itself and make like a really wispy ghost. It's totally up to you. And then I have my little ghost family, which I think turned out so adorable. So because I was using the gesso, I did the 2 back ones, let them dry most of the way, and then came back in and did the ghosts on top. And I did it twice. I showed you both. One was a little more streaky, and then the second time I did it, it was a little bit smoother. I think if you wanted to use a different type of spatula or a spoon or anything like that, you might get them even more smoother, that's not proper English, even more smooth than I did. But I kind of liked that there was a little bit of movement to the gesso. If you are doing this with the spackling or even with a texture paste, everything that I have watched, they don't wait for each layer to dry. The idea is to layer them all up on top of each other. And I will definitely post a picture at some point to kind of show you, probably on Instagram, what I was kind of aiming for, what my inspiration was. And so hop over there and you can kind of see they don't wait for it to dry. They just go in and do swipes and they build up all these layers. So there's many more ghosts in the versions that I've seen. But I thought it would be cute to kind of represent my little family with my 4 kiddos. So I just let those layers dry just to make sure that I didn't kind of smush the texture in behind. But whatever medium you're using, you may need to let it dry or not. That's totally kind of up to you, however it works, and however many ghosts you want to squish in there, absolutely, by all means, go ahead and do that. Then let everything dry, the glue and everything, and once you have, you can put in their little faces. I used a paintbrush, just the back of the paintbrush with some black paint, but if you were making larger ghosts, you could cut their faces out with felt or black paper, whatever is going to work to make the ghosts that you are looking to achieve. And then embellish. So I started with everything on black backgrounds, but I liked the idea of more of like a Victorian style background. So I looked for some fall paper for 2 of them. I added these little embellishments to these 2, a little chipboard piece that I found for a drink. I added some bows and a pumpkin onto my family of ghosts. And then here you can see how they look on the wall. And that is my little ghosty trend for this year. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Keep your eye on my Instagram for more info on this trend and other things that I do. And until next time, happy crafting. Bye.